Welcome back to the Dirty Shop. Today I'm making trekking poles out of old tent poles, or it could be a wading staff as well if you're a fly fisherman or a fisherman who's getting out in the river, wading staff. So I made two different versions here. I'll show you how I did it.
Warning, this video may contain scenes of extreme untidiness. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, to start this project I'm going to need some tent poles, obviously, and I've got these older poles out of some tent that got taken apart, and you know, whenever something like this falls apart, I just take the pieces that I think I can use for future projects and I toss them in a bucket somewhere. And so I've got a bunch of big tent poles, I got a bunch of smaller ones. I tried these smaller ones and they're just too flexible. These are made to bend and they do it, so it doesn't work out for me. But these larger ones are going to work really well for this project. It takes about 3 sections of this to make the right height pole. Now I'm going to check it for straightness, and a couple of these are bent right on the little foot here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an end piece, and I'm going to use this stainless steel bolt. I'm going to cut it off and then grind it flat, and that way it fits nicely in here, and this will be the foot of my tent pole. And I'm going to drill a hole in the end so I can take some of this bungee cord. And this is bungee cord that just came out of the inside of the pole. This is obviously a short piece, but I've got some longer pieces. And I'm going to use that to put the to hold the whole pole together with a bolt like this on one end, and then on the other end I think I'm going to use a bolt again, but a 7/16 because it fits here. So 7/16 fits there, 5/16 here. Grind them down, should be good to go. Leather wrapped handle, sweet. Alright, now I've got all my pieces ready to go. I've got my 5/16 bolt here with the hole drilled in it. See? And I got my piece of cord here. It's got a little damage spot right there, but it's still going to hold together just fine, I think. So I've got one side just a little longer than the other because I want to bend it over and tie it down. So I'm going to make one side a little longer. And I'm going to thread my bolt on here. Bring it down to the end. Alright, now that I got this on here, I'm going to run it through my poles. So making sure I'm on my small end here. And then hold still. There we go. Okay, so that's one. And then I'm going to fit this down into here like that. See, it fits nicely. And that's going to be the foot of my pole. Now, make sure I have another straight one, nice and straight. fit them together. Now this last one with the leather handle on it is a little harder because it's obviously not going to fit, right? Because it stretches. So I'm going to have to stretch it to get it through. So I'm just going to push the first portion in as far as it's reasonable, and I'm going to pull this out of here on the bottom, and then you can just thread the rest of it through. Now it's there. Put that in. I'm going to hold on to this so it doesn't get away from me. Like that. And this goes here. Oh, forgot. This piece here is just a piece of 1-inch webbing, and I used my soldering iron to poke a hole in it, folded it over and poked a hole in it with my soldering iron. Soldering iron is nice for this because it seals the edges so it doesn't shred out, and it kind of glues it together too with that melted plastic. So I'm going to take my 7/16 bolt with a hole in it, put that in there. And then this one. I need a third hand. Come on. Okay, now I'm just going to tie this over in a knot. Just going to use a square knot here. All right. Put that down in there. Get in there. There we go. Done deal. All right, here we go. Here's my poles done. I just made a little slip sack for them, and this sack actually is big enough that I could put my Tenkara rod in there too, maybe, or a fly rod or something, a little one. So I made it a little extra big. I may change it in the future, but we'll see how that goes. But I've got 2 poles in here. The one I showed you making, and then I went and used my machines and made a more advanced one. So here's the pole that I showed you, the make in your home garage type of pole. Goes together nicely. This 1-inch strap is nice and comfortable. This pole is 8.6 ounces as seen here, and you can see it on the scale right up there. And it turned out pretty good. I like it. It's fairly rigid, so that's going to do the job fairly well. And now I used my machines and I made another pole, which is the same basic idea. I just used the machine to make these end pieces, and I used a piece of paracord here to lighten it up and a piece of lighter leather as well. So you can see this pole here, I've got a aluminum top on it with a 1/4-20 thread on it, so I can put my camera on top of that like a monopod. And then I just drilled a hole here and put a piece of paracord in and tied it off. I've got slightly lighter leather, and I didn't wrap this with tape. I'm going to see if I've got any shrink tube that I could put on that, to see if that works better. But for now, I'm just leaving it alone. And this one is basically the same concept as that, just weighs 1 ounce less. This is 7.5 ounces, that's 8.6. So I also made a tip for it. It's basically similar to the bolt. I just put some teeth on it. And there you go. So 2 nice trekking poles or wading staffs out of old tent poles. See you next time on The Dirty Shop.